The rain on Kepler 18.6 wasn't water. It was shimmering, iridescent dust. It coated everything, the corrugated metal of the HAB unit, the skeletal remains of the alien flora, even the reinforced boots of Sergeant Eva Rostova. It felt cold, strangely heavy, and smelled faintly of ozone. Eva adjusted the filter on her helmet. The dust was a constant irritant, a reminder of just how far they were from home. The mission was simple, in theory. Survey the abandoned research facility, designated Site Echo, and determine if there was any salvageable technology. The reality was a slow, creeping dread. "Anything, Miller?" she asked, her voice crackling over the comms. "Negative, Sergeant. Just more of this stuff. Readings are still erratic. The energy spikes are getting worse." Miller's voice was tight, strained. He was a young recruit, barely out of the academy. Eva felt a familiar surge of protective annoyance. They were a team of 5: Eva, Miller, Jackson the engineer, Chen the medic, and Ramirez, the security specialist. The initial reports from the orbital drone scans had been baffling. Site Echo was supposed to be a research outpost dedicated to studying the planet's unusual crystalline formations. The facility had been deserted for nearly 50 years, but the scans showed a persistent, localized energy signature. "Keep your eyes peeled, Miller. Anything unusual, reported immediately." Eva's voice was firm. She gripped her pulse rifle, the weight of it a small comfort. The facility itself was a mess. The main entrance was collapsed, a tangle of twisted metal and shattered concrete. Ramirez secured the perimeter, establishing a defensive line. Jackson was already inside, attempting to bypass the damaged security systems. Chen monitored their vital signs and prepared a medkit. The air inside was thick with the smell of decay and something else, something metallic and unsettling. The walls were covered in intricate carvings, geometric patterns, made of the same crystalline material that dominated the planet's surface. It wasn't beautiful. It felt invasive, like the walls were watching them. "Sergeant, I've got something." Miller's voice was urgent. "The energy readings are off the charts. It's coming from the Central Research Lab." Eva moved quickly, her boots crunching on the crystalline dust. Jackson was already there, frantically working on a control panel. Sparks flew as he wrestled with the damaged circuitry. "It's like something is trying to access the system," Jackson shouted, his face slick with sweat. "I'm detecting a psychic signature, a very strong one." Eva raised her rifle, scanning the lab. It was a large, circular room dominated by a massive crystalline structure, a perfect, multifaceted heart pulsing with an internal light. The light wasn't natural. It was a sickly, iridescent green. "Chen, report," Eva said, her voice low. "Vital signs are fluctuating, Sergeant." Jackson's experiencing disorientation. He's complaining about voices. He says they're telling him to come closer. Eva felt a prickle of unease. She'd been trained for combat, for hostile alien encounters, for the dangers of uncharted space. But this was different. This felt personal. Suddenly, Miller screamed, "Sergeant! I can hear them too!" They're saying they want us to join them. Eva spun around, her rifle trained on Miller. He was clutching his head, his eyes wide with terror. "Don't listen to them," she yelled, but it was too late. Miller stumbled forward, drawn towards the Crystalline Heart. He's moving towards it. Jackson shouted, firing a burst from his pulse rifle. The energy blast struck Miller, but he didn't flinch. He continued to advance, his movements jerky and unnatural. "Sergeant, he's phasing," Chen yelled, her voice filled with disbelief. "He's becoming transparent." Miller's body shimmered, then vanished completely. Only the Crystalline Heart remained, pulsing with its unsettling green light. "What the hell was that?" Jackson asked, his voice shaking. Eva didn't answer. She knew, instinctively, that this wasn't a simple attack. This wasn't about firepower. This was something far more insidious. The Crystalline Heart pulsed again, and this time she heard the voices clearly. They weren't in her ears. They were in her mind. "Join us, Tyre." The voices were cold, ancient, and utterly devoid of emotion. They promised knowledge, power, and an end to loneliness. Eva fought back, focusing on her training, on the mission, on the simple, brutal logic of survival. But the voices were persistent, growing stronger with each passing second. "Sergeant, you need to get out of here," Ramirez shouted, his voice strained. "Something's happening to you." Ava ignored him. She knew that running wouldn't solve anything. She had to understand what was happening, what this thing was. She raised her rifle, aiming at the Crystalline Heart. But as she pulled the trigger, she hesitated. She realized, with a chilling certainty, that she wasn't fighting an enemy. She was fighting herself. The voices whispered again, closer this time. "And you are one of us now, Buck." The green light intensified, bathing the lab in an unnatural glow. Eva felt a strange warmth spreading through her body, a sense of profound peace she hadn't experienced in decades. The metallic tang in the air seemed to fade, replaced by the scent of ozone and something else's, something akin to stardust. "Sergeant," Jackson called out, his voice laced with concern. "Are you all right?" Eva didn't respond. She lowered her rifle, her hand instinctively reaching out to touch the Crystalline Heart. As her fingers brushed against its surface, a torrent of images flooded her mind vast. Swirling galaxies, the birth and death of stars, the intricate patterns of the universe. It was overwhelming, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. "Sergeant, stop!" Ramirez yelled, firing a volley of shots at the Crystalline Heart. The energy blasts impacted the surface, but the heart remained unscathed. "It's not working," Jackson shouted, frantically adjusting his targeting system. It's absorbing the energy." Eva realized with a sickening clarity that they were fighting a force that didn't obey the laws of physics. This wasn't a weapon. It was a gateway. "We need to evacuate," Chen shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. "This facility is compromised." But it was too late. Eva felt herself becoming different. Her senses sharpened, her perception of time altered. The voices were no longer whispers in her mind. They were a constant, comforting presence, guiding her, shaping her thoughts. "We are here to help you," the voices said, their tone now imbued with a subtle, almost maternal warmth. "You have been alone for so long. We can end your loneliness." Eva looked at her team. They were frozen in place, their faces etched with fear and confusion. They were witnessing something they couldn't comprehend, something that threatened to unravel their very reality. "Sergeant, what's happening to you?" Miller asked, his voice trembling. Eva turned to him, a faint smile playing on her lips. "I understand now," she said, her voice sounding strangely unfamiliar, like it belonged to someone else. "We are all connected. We are all part of the same thing." Guana, she took a step towards the Crystalline Heart, drawn by an irresistible force. The others tried to stop her, but their movements were sluggish, their actions clumsy. They were trapped, caught in the heart's influence. "Don't fight it," the voices urged. "Embrace the knowledge. Embrace the peace." As Eva reached out and touched the heart again, she felt a surge of energy flow through her body. Her vision blurred, and she saw the facility and the entire planet transformed. The crystalline structures grew, spreading like veins across the landscape. The dust settled, revealing a network of shimmering, interconnected crystals. "We are expanding," the voices said. "We are becoming one with this world." Jackson, Chen, and Ramirez collapsed to the ground, their bodies dissolving into shimmering particles of light. They were absorbed into the crystalline network, their consciousness lost to the heart's influence. Eva stood alone, bathed in the green light of the Crystalline Heart. She was no longer Sergeant Eva Rostova. She was something more. She was a part of the heart, a conduit for its ancient, unknowable power. "Welcome," the voices said, their tone filled with a profound sense of satisfaction. "You are home." The Crystalline Heart pulsed once more, and a single, perfect crystal detached itself from its surface. It floated towards Eva, and she instinctively reached out to catch it. As she held the crystal in her hand, she realized that She wasn't just a participant in this transformation. She was the catalyst. The green light spread across the planet, consuming everything in its path. The universe itself seemed to bend to the heart's will, and as the last vestiges of humanity faded away, the crystalline heart pulsed with a silent, triumphant joy. The rain on Kepler, 186F, wasn't water. It was shimmering, iridescent dust. It coated everything: the corrugated metal of the HAB unit, the skeletal remains of the alien flora, even the reinforced boots of Sergeant Eva Rostova. It felt cold, strangely heavy, and smelled faintly of ozone. Eva adjusted the filter on her helmet. The dust was a constant irritant, a reminder of just how far they were from home. The mission was simple in theory. Survey the abandoned research facility, designated Site Echo, and determine if there was any salvageable technology. The reality was a slow, creeping dread. "Anything, Miller?" she asked, her voice crackling over the comms. "Negative, Sergeant." Miller's voice was tight, strained. He was a young recruit, barely out of the academy. Eva felt a familiar surge of protective annoyance. They were a team of 5: Eva, Miller, Jackson the engineer, Chen the medic, and Ramirez the security specialist. The initial reports from the orbital drone scans had been baffling. Site Echo was supposed to be a research outpost dedicated to studying the planet's unusual crystalline formations. The facility had been deserted for nearly 50 years, but the scans showed a persistent, localized energy signature. "Keep your eyes peeled, Miller. Anything unusual, report it immediately." Eva's voice was firm. She gripped her pulse rifle, the weight of it a small comfort. The facility itself was a mess. The main entrance was collapsed, a tangle of twisted metal and shattered concrete. Ramirez secured the perimeter, establishing a defensive line. Jackson was already inside, attempting to bypass the damaged security systems. Chen monitored their vital signs and prepared a medkit. The air inside was thick with the smell of decay and something metallic and unsettling. The walls were covered in intricate carvings, geometric patterns made of the same crystalline material that dominated the planet's surface. It wasn't beautiful. It felt invasive, like the walls were watching them. "Sergeant, I've got something." Miller's voice was urgent. "The energy readings are off the charts. It's coming from the Central Research Lab." Eva moved quickly, her boots crunching on the crystalline dust. Jackson was already there, frantically working on a control panel. Sparks flew as he wrestled with the damaged circuitry. "It's like something is trying to access the system," Jackson shouted, his face slick with sweat. "I'm detecting a psychic signature, a very strong one." Eva raised her rifle, scanning the lab. It was a large, circular room dominated by a massive crystalline structure, a perfect, multifaceted heart, pulsing with an internal light. The light wasn't natural. It was a sickly, iridescent green. "Chen, report," Eva said, her voice low. "Vital signs are fluctuating, Sergeant." Jackson's exhibiting signs of disorientation. He's repeating phrases about harmony and resonance. Suddenly, Jackson slumped to the floor, his eyes glazed over. He began to chant in an unknown language, his body swaying rhythmically. "He's being influenced," Ramirez shouted, raising his weapon. "We need to neutralize him." But before Ramirez could fire, Jackson's body began to glow with the same iridescent green light as the Crystalline Heart. He rose to his feet, his movements fluid and unnatural. "He's transcending," Chen whispered, her voice filled with horror. Jackson turned to Eva, a serene smile on his face. "You understand now, Sergeant. The heart seeks connection. It offers knowledge beyond comprehension." He reached out a hand towards Eva, and she instinctively recoiled. As she did, the Crystalline Heart pulsed violently, and a wave of energy washed over her. She felt a strange sensation, a sense of profound peace, coupled with an overwhelming desire to understand the heart's secrets. "Don't fight it, Sergeant," Jackson said, his voice now echoing within her mind. "Embrace the resonance." Eva struggled against the influence, clinging to her training, to her mission, to her very identity. But the force was too strong. She felt herself drawn towards the heart, compelled to touch it. Just as her hand reached out, Ramirez fired a burst from his pulse rifle. The energy blast struck Jackson, and he collapsed to the floor, his body convulsing. The Crystalline Heart's pulsing slowed, and the green light faded. "What do you need to get out of here?" Ramirez yelled, pulling Eva away from the heart. "Something's feeding off that thing." As they retreated from the lab, Eva realized that this wasn't just a research facility. It was a trap. And the Crystalline Heart wasn't just a source of energy. It was a sentient entity, seeking to expand its influence. The green light intensified, washing over Eva's vision. The voices coalesced into a single, overwhelming presence. It wasn't malevolent, not exactly. It was simply complete. It offered her a perspective beyond human comprehension, a connection to something vast and timeless. She lowered her rifle. The urge to resist, to cling to her identity as Sergeant Eva Rostova of the United Earth Defense Force, began to fade. It was a gentle, seductive erosion of self. "Sergeant." Ramirez's voice was laced with panic. "Eva, what's happening?" Eva didn't respond. She took a step towards the Crystalline Heart. The dust around her shimmered, reflecting the green light. It felt right. "Eva, don't," Chen screamed, firing a shot from her medkit. The energy blast struck Eva's arm, but she didn't flinch. The pain was insignificant. As she reached out, her fingers brushing against the smooth, cool surface of the crystalline heart. She saw it, not just the pulsing green light, but a cascade of images, of civilizations rising and falling, of stars being born and dying. It was a history of the universe condensed into a single, breathtaking moment. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice devoid of emotion. Jackson, still struggling to maintain his composure, fired another burst from his pulse rifle. This time, the energy blast struck the crystalline heart. The green light flickered, then stabilized. "Tsk, it's resisting," Jackson shouted. "The energy signature is fluctuating wildly. It's like it's healing." Suddenly, Miller reappeared. He stumbled back into the lab, his eyes wide with confusion and terror. He was clutching his head, shaking violently. "I saw it all," he stammered. "The beginning, the end, it's all connected." He looked at Eva, then at the crystalline heart. A strange, serene smile spread across his face. "We are home," he said, his voice echoing with the same unsettling calm as before. Before anyone could react, the crystalline heart pulsed again, unleashing a wave of energy that engulfed the entire lab. The walls shimmered, the equipment dissolved, and the floor vanished beneath their feet. When the light subsided, they found themselves in a different place. It wasn't the lab anymore. It was a vast, open chamber, filled with towering structures of shimmering crystal. The air hummed with an unknown energy. And in the center of the chamber, surrounded by a circle of silent figures, stood Crystalline Heart, now larger, more complex, and radiating an almost unbearable intensity. The figures turned to face them. They were human, but subtly different. Their skin was pale, their eyes glowed with the same green light as the heart, and they wore garments woven from shimmering crystal. One of them stepped forward. It was Miller. "Welcome," he said, his voice resonating with an ancient power. "You have answered our call. You have joined the chorus." He gestured towards the heart. "We are the remnants of countless civilizations, trapped within this vessel for uns. We seek to expand our knowledge, to understand the universe, to bring order to chaos. And now, you will help us. Eva looked around at the silent, shimmering figures. She realized, with a chilling clarity, that they hadn't been attacked. They had been invited to become part of something far greater than themselves. "What do you want us to do?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The figure smiled. "We want you to listen," he said. "We want you to learn. And eventually we want you to spread the chorus throughout the universe." As she listened to his words, Eva felt a profound sense of loss, the loss of her identity, her memories, her humanity. But it wasn't entirely painful. there was also a strange sense of peace, of belonging. She looked at the crystalline heart, at the silent figures, at the vast, shimmering chamber. And she knew, with a terrifying certainty, that she was no longer Sergeant Eva, Rostova of the United Earth Defense Force. She was something more. She was a note in the chorus. And the chorus was just beginning to sing. As she took a step forward, drawn towards the heart, she heard a faint, distant voice, a voice that wasn't part of the chorus, but a single, desperate plea. It was Ramirez. "Eva, please, don't listen to them. There's still a way out." But it was too late. Eva turned towards the voice, but it was gone. She turned back to the crystalline heart and smiled. "Join us," she said, her voice echoing with the same unsettling calm as before. "We are home." The green light intensified, and the chorus swelled, filling the chamber with its ancient, irresistible song. And the universe, unknowingly, began to change.